Hello, beautiful people of the world, of the internet. This is the Soul Ashraya podcast, and we are coming to you live, a weekly Bhakti podcast. Please, thank you for joining myself, Bhakti Jake, and my esteemed friend and teacher, Balaram Shakti Das, on this journey through the multiverse of Krishna consciousness. We are joined with us today, once again, a very good and special friend and teacher as well, Raj Prabhu. How are you?
Haribol, I'm good,
Haribol.
Prabhu. Thank you for having me. Wow, that's amazing.
We are always so happy to have you. Always and every single time. Yes. So let's play the guess where Balaram game is real quick today. Balaram, I sense I'm getting a premonition. You are in somewhere in the southeast United States. Is that true?
No. Try Midwest.
Midwest. Not quite the south, not quite the north. Somewhere in the Midwest.
Yeah, we're out in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming right now.
Wyoming.
We're on our way to Eugene, Oregon.
Oh wow. I've heard Eugene is beautiful. I've heard that's a beautiful, beautiful city.
Yeah. Oregon itself is really beautiful.
Isn't it? I believe
Yeah.
it. It seems
Yeah.
like the West Coast is a special place. Full of natural beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great, but I tell you what, everything's bigger in Texas. All right, my friends, let me begin here. Raj, I we were not were you with us the other week? Uh
No,
no, okay. All right, that's okay. Sorry.
The
So
other week.
we are almost to the end of chapter 4 in the Krishna book. And I'm just letting you know where we're at. That's all. I'm just letting you
Yeah,
know.
we had one episode since the last
That's
time
right. That's
he was
right.
on.
So um we're gonna do the prayers and everything, but I just wanted to let you know where we were at in the book. So just so you know, I guess. So all right, moving on here. I will bring up the prayers right now. Yes, here we go. Right meow. All right, my friends. Here we go.
this is great. Sharing the praise is also very helpful.
Rajas Prabhu, would you like to lead?
Yep. Let's do a small prayer. The Mangala Sharan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Oh,
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Let us all recite together. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksharam Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine यः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे।
Thank you, Raj. All right, I'll bring up the text. All right, so yes, so like I was explaining before, we're almost at the end of chapter 4, and Kamsa is having a little powwow with his demon buddies, and he's like, "All right, guys, let's what do you guys feel like doing?" Like, as far as like doing like, the worst, any more damage or whatever. And so he's talking to them, and they're kind of like going back and forth, and kind of like I guess they're kind of like kind of like maybe getting a game plan together as far as like what kind of havoc they want to wreak on everybody. Um, Balaram, what do you have to say about this part, about this section right here?
Well, yeah, we discussed how Kamsa, was experiencing remorse after he got put in his place by Subhadra, Krishna's sister, who's a divine goddess. And so he kind of had his tail between his legs and, was actually kind of wanting to do the right thing, right? And releasing his sister and brother-in-law and not bothering them anymore, letting them live in peace. And then, he's sharing this with his ministers, and they're saying, absolutely not. You need to double down right now. So yeah, and we were talking, we at the end of the last episode, we mentioned the paragraph that we're going to start with here, about a disease in the body. And this is like the demonic mentality of seeing other people as the problem, right? And that we just have to get rid of all of our problems. But the irony is that in having that mentality, they are the disease, right? Because the life and soul of the body is Vishnu, meaning like the body. That's the soul of the universe. And so going against that soul, that supreme soul, that is called disease.
Mm.
So this is like the mentality, how to judge whether or not you are in proper consciousness. It's, are you are your purging of disease is, or what have is your disagreements with things, is that in the consciousness of the supreme soul? Like, are you aware of the supreme soul in the other person, right? What do you guys think about that? As far as, we get into when we get into conflict, and we can either be of this mentality of you're the problem and you need to be like kind of removed from the tree of life. Maybe we won't be so like, brash with it, but as opposed to, it's not you that's the problem, because God is in your heart, but it's this mentality, that you are acting against your own self-interest, actually, in the sense of, the collective self-interest, right? God's interest. And Yeah, another kind of side note on that, it's just interesting that usually when you accuse someone of something, if you're not in this consciousness, if you're not in God consciousness, if you accuse someone of something, actually you're probably the guilty of that very thing, right? And so that's being exhibited here. Vraj, what do you have to say on this?
Yeah, it's very, very important to know this point of thinking about one as the doer again, when we are thinking that we are doing it, we are the cause, we are the people who are going against all those material things. It is me who is the cause. It is I am the cause. In childhood, I used to see this cartoon. It was in English in India, and this was called as He-Man.
He-Man?
Yeah, you know that?
Are you kidding me? He-Man,
Yeah,
like, yeah. Oh, I know all about He-Man. Yes.
the power of Grayskull. Like that.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's it. Yes. All about it. That's what I was into before consciousness, man. The power of Grayskull.
And
And look where it got me.
And
so,
don't forget for all the women.
You're a princess of power.
yeah. So yeah, this is all coming through that understanding of, that what is trying to make us do something is that me and mine. And when I was reading this paragraph, that the demons are saying some knowledgeable stuff. So in India, India is a multicolor world of religion, and you get to hear. So one day I went to this place, or the birth of Lord Ram, or the palace where Lord Ram has been, ruling the kingdom for thousands of years. And recently they have built up a huge temple of Lord Ram. So it's called Ayodhya. And
Yeah.
this place is so beautiful. So I was there some 15 years back, and a knowledge is to be taken from good people. Good people, they are the source of knowledge. That's what been taught to us by parents. Today is Mother's Day, and mother is the source of all knowledge for the child. It's the mother who tells us who's the father, right? It's the mother who gives us that first loving affection to the child. And the Vedic scriptures, the Vedic injunctions are considered to be our mother, isn't it? And they are based on godly stuffs, they're based on, so you cannot expect that any person who is having a demonic mentality is giving a knowledge. And over here in this paragraph is all about the demons are giving knowledge. And that's where there was a demon called Ravana. Ravana was a great demon, very powerful. And people are there who are actually glorifying Ravana. What they're saying, they have created a book. Its book color is in black. The cover page is black color, and it is named as Ravana. And they've come with episodes that you have seen the devotion of Ram, but you have not seen the knowledge of Ravana. You have seen the greatness of Ram, but you have not seen the sacrifice of Ravana. And they're creating episodes where the hero is Ravana, and the knowledge has been provided in that way. So these friends of Kamsa here, who is as equivalent to Ramana, are talking about some kind of knowledge. But then what makes me smile is that when such people speak, even those people have audience. They get audience, and they are. Prabhupada always said that if people want to get food, they will be having a teacher who is fooling them. If people want to be not getting food, then they will get some sincere teacher.
Mm.
So yeah, this was all coming up when I saw this paragraph in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like they're having a board meeting, and it's like a bunch of, it's like Kamsa's at like the Kamsa's like the chairman, and there's just a bunch of goons like around the board, around the table. And Kamsa, when the scene kind of opens up here, right? Kamsa is really kind of like, well, guys, I don't know. I feel kind of bad. What do you want to do? It's like, well, and anyway, it kind of unrolls from there.
Be more like a Godfather scene than a.
Oh, yeah, seriously,
You
right?
know?
Yeah. So yeah, let me see
This
here.
is reminding me, because kind of bring it to practical, like modern life. We see this in the intellectual class in this country particularly, right? There's you could say the far left is generally intellectual people, very very intelligent, but they're like too intelligent for their own good, and they base their worldview in the same exact way. It's actually incredibly demonic because it's all on the bodily platform. All of their knowledge is just only I am my body, and anyone who goes against my bodily mission or whatever is an enemy, and they have to be destroyed. And that is what's going on. If people are speaking in a way that opposes that status quo, or is, too far right for them, which religion very much is, it naturally leans to the right, because we're just more conservative by nature. We're liberal with our love, but we're conservative with our chastity to God, because it's not about us. It's not about my body. It's about the Lord's body, and so these intellectuals, they're saying the same things. It's like, we're gonna read this. We have to be careful before they get too strong to be subdued. They're saying the same exact things.
Yeah.
And best to just get rid of these people who are speaking out in this way. That is the hard liberal agenda. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, that's pretty much what it comes down to, is like in this country, the left has become like just a totally new thing. It's like just its own, it's like its own religion. Just being involved with it is like your own brand new religion, like I lean left as far as like Woody Guthrie, you know, like, I mean, but like they don't even know who that is anymore. Like they have no idea.
I
Like,
don't know who that is either. Please dispel my ignorance.
oh, well, Woody Guthrie was a singer-songwriter who played with the Weavers. He kind of got started with oh my goodness, please don't leave my brain right now while I'm talking. Get back in my brain. Sorry. He started playing with Pete Seeger, who was a banjo player in the 40s. And they had a folk band. They played folk music in the definitely in the 40s. And Woody Guthrie was like in their band, but then he like left their band and went out on his own. And he was like he was one of the first ones to write songs about the Union. He was one of the first one to write songs about being a socialist, like openly in the McCarthy era of the United States, you know, he really challenged a lot of these very conservative values that Americans had back then. And this is like right before World War II, during World War II, and after World War II. I would highly suggest anyone and everyone check out his work because he's like completely legendary. And it's just kind of a sign of the times that like he's kind of become kind of like you know, like kind of put up on the shelf in history. I hate to say that because I love the guy, but like I will say this is like Bob Dylan really kind of got his start in his music career by like really imitating Woody Guthrie, amongst some other well-known musicians at the time too. But yeah, and I mean, I don't know, that's probably a conversation for another time. But yes, what all that to say this is that like that actually made sense politically speaking. Okay, that made sense. Woody Guthrie had a head on his shoulders. He had an amazing imagination, and he wanted to fight against what he saw as just straight up racism. And you know, if you weren't in the good old boys club, you weren't going to make it in America. And we're talking about the 40s, you know, when it was like people would just kill you on the street in the 40s, you know. So he was very brave to do that. And one of his like there's a famous picture of him holding his guitar and it says, "This machine kills fascists." And that's like an amazing thing to write on your guitar and go out in the street and play, you know. But yeah, so yes, all that to say that
Well, yeah, I guess it's like, you know, it swings back and forth, right, from left to right. And, you know, if it's too far to the right, it's like, yeah, you got to bring it to the left. If it's too far to the left, yeah, you got to kind of bring it back.
we should always challenge the norms, you know. There's there are things that happen in the material world that just knock people down to where they can't ever get back up again. So I know we're kind of getting way off.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
But we have, you know, we need to challenge them with spiritual principles, you know, and that's really what we're doing here, is we're wanting to, you know, challenge the norm, because it's like either extreme, yeah. Yeah, reel it back.
He's reeling it back, but that's you actually.
You know, so okay. So I think we're
Okay, yeah, let's read it. All right.
And we'll see, you know, because I don't know if anything more needs to be said on that. Just that this kind of mentality, whether it's, you know, whatever political arena is there, if it's based on the bodily platform, it needs to get checked, you know. And ultimately, right, Krishna, spiritual reality is transcendental, right? So we're not conservatives, we're not liberals, right. Here we're transcendentalists.
Yeah,
that we are not basing our ideologies on anything of this world. Yeah. You know, because when we do that, that's when we get mixed up. And doesn't matter how virtuous you are, you know, it doesn't, like, what do you go through, like, all glories, you know, wonderful, but you know, what was his actual contribution? Like, is he exempt from fault? No. You know, he might have been leaning in the right direction at that time, but it's not like any absolute truth that he established there.
Yeah.
For all time, all people, you know, right? So this is the necessity of getting off of the bodily platform. So let's hear what happens when we get deeply engrossed in the bodily platform. And this could very easily happen to us in this country. Don't think that this is just ancient history, some fairy tale. Like, we are at the precipice of this. So pay attention.
Yeah. All right. So we're picking up right where it says the demons continue to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The demons continue to say, if there is some disease in the body which is neglected, it worsens and becomes incurable. Similarly, when one is not careful about restraining the senses and lets them loose, it is then very difficult to control them. Therefore, we must now be very careful of the demigods before they get too strong to be subdued. The foundation of the strength of the demigods is Lord Vishnu, because the ultimate goal of all religious principles is to satisfy him. The Vedic injunctions, the Brahmanas, the cows, the austerities, the sacrifices, performances of charity, and distribution of wealth are all for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. So let us immediately begin by killing all the Brahmanas who are in charge of the Vedic knowledge, along with the great sages who are in charge of sacrificial ritualistic performances. Let us kill all the cows, which are the source of butter, which is so necessary for performing sacrifices. Please give us our permission to kill all these creatures. Dude, these guys are like ruthless. I mean, these guys are like crazy, right? I mean, come on, man. Demonic. They're demonic. All right. So, actually,
That's
sorry.
pure demon as it gets. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's brutal. You know, that's brutal right there. Killing the cows. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Not even like just for the reason that we kill them to enjoy the meat, but just because it's pleasing to God, their existence. So let's remove them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's genocide, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Actually, the limbs of the transcendental body of Lord Vishnu are the Brahmanas, the cows, Vedic knowledge, austerity, truthfulness, sense and mind control, faithfulness, charity, tolerance, and performance of sacrifices. Lord Vishnu is situated in everyone's heart and is the leader of all demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Therefore, we think that to persecute the great sages and the Brahmanas is to kill Lord Vishnu. Thus being advised by his demonic ministers, Kamsa, Kamsa, who was from the very beginning the greatest rascal. I love Prabhupada. I love when he uses rascal. Everyone loves that, right? From the very beginning, the greatest rascal decided to persecute the Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas, being entrapped by the shackles of all-devouring eternal time. He ordered the demons to harass all kinds of saintly persons, and then he entered his house. The adherents of Kamsa were all influenced by the mode of passion, as well as illusion by the mode of ignorance. Their only business was to create enmity with the saintly persons. Such activities can only reduce one's duration of life. The demons accelerated the process and invited their deaths as soon as possible. The result of persecuting saintly persons is not only untimely death, the act is so offensive that the perpetrator is also gradually loses his beauty, his fame, and religious principles. And thus, his promotion to higher planets is checked. Driven by various kinds of mental concoctions, the demons diminish all kinds of auspiciousness. An offense at the lotus feet of the devotees and Brahmanas is a greater offense than that committed at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A civilization that commits such a sinful activities generally loses all faith in the Supreme Lord. And such godless civilization becomes the source of all calamities in human society.
Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 4th chapter of Krishna. Kamsa begins his persecutions.
Yes.
So maybe look that up and just scroll up a little bit. Because there is a lot there.
Oh yeah.
What do you guys want to talk about here? Vrajas, Andrea?
Let's ask Andrea what she wants to talk about. If she's around.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay.
Okay. So, oh, she's just listening today. Okay.
Okay.
So a lot of things are there, and it talks about so many of aspects which have been mentioned here, you know. First of all, when it talks about the understanding of cows and brahmanas and you know what is this, you know, this kind of an understanding of, you know, Vishnu having a transcendental body, and you know it's way beyond the limitations, or it's way beyond the logical understanding of a earthly being or a person who has never been introduced to these concepts. And as we try to understand that the whole program of the world which is running, you know, the programming which is running behind everything has been coded with key factors like brahmanas, cows, austerity, truthfulness, and some people call it values, or you know, principles,
These are
charity,
like
tolerance.
integral principles of the cosmic, like,
Exactly. And which are universal, which are not like
fabric of reality is woven with these things.
these things. Yeah. And when we talk about these things, these are like not something which is only existing in the in certain region of land or some part of tract of land or something like that. This was all over the globe. It was all over the universe. And, you know, it was existing. And the most important point, which I would like to just touch upon, is being today's Mother's Day, you know, and everyone is in that consciousness today, respecting mom and, you know, having the day for mother, whatever she says today, let her be, it is her day, you know, like that. So what I think is, the scriptures or the Vedic injunctions mention that there are 7 types of mothers, you know.
Huh.
Yeah. And these 7 types,
you say?
yeah, 7
Heard
types of
this
mothers.
yesterday.
Yeah, and there's a particular shloka which has been spoken by Chanakya Pandit, one of a great scholar and teacher in the Eastern philosophy. And he quotes, and actually this has been quoted by Prabhupada. And the verse is, Atma Mata Guru Patni Brahmani Rajapatnika Dhenur Dhatri Tatha Prithvi Saptaeta Matra Smita. Translation goes like this. One's own mother is one of our mother, right? Then the second mother is the wife of the guru or the teacher. The third mother is wife of a brahmana or a priest. And the fourth is the wife of a king. The fifth is the cow. The sixth is the nurse. And seventh is the earth. These are known as the 7 mothers of a man. So That is where we understand that the importance mentioned here in this text also today, given to one of the mothers as cows. And these mothers are actually nourishing the mankind, the whole mankind. Like you get to know knowledge from a teacher, from a guru, and and she's your mother, she is your wife of your teacher. And can you believe this? Each and every mothers are so magnanimous and so compassionate,
Mm.
and their compassion is no bound. It's crossing all the boundaries. It's going beyond our imagination. And when we talk about earth, I was hearing a session on Srimad Bhagavatam, and comes in fourth canto on the king Prithu. And it is mentioned that the earth is our mother actually, and she is a person, and she is giving us produces on her desire. It is not only the chemical reactions which is giving the food or the produce. It is the personality. So when we talk about the Vedic science or the Vedic perspective towards all these seven mothers, we are actually respecting the environment. We are actually respecting the whole mankind. We are actually respecting the liberty of women. We are actually respecting the freedom of each and every living entity. Maybe it's an animal or a man, like that. So that's what I believe is that, what we are discussing here is of very, very importance. And being a mother, being a Mother's Day, we are not only obliged to our own mother, the blood mother, but we are also obliged to so many other mothers who have been playing a very crucial part in our life. And one of them is the cow. And uh, I've been staying in a goshala. I've been staying in a cow barn for 2 years. Every day morning, getting up with the voice of the cow, bell ringing and mooing around, and such a loving feeling of that. Yeah. So it's very, very important us to meditate on each of these mothers. And this discussion today, what we are taking, and I believe each one of you agree about it. What do you say about it? Do you?
I really like the concept of the cow thing. I really like that because I guess I can just relate to it because I kind of grew up on a farm, had a big family, and they did have cows back then when I was very, very young. And every morning they had to get up and milk the cows. And back in those days, I was very young, but they had just a couple of cows and they would milk them every day. But it was like back in those days, they treated those cows so good. They were just like everything to everybody because that was kind of like before, the family was just kind of like getting going back then. My grandfather had bought these cows in order to have milk for everybody every day. And so they were like just like like the center stage of everything at the farm, and like treated so well, so I can relate to that aspect of what you're saying the most. In your adult life, it kind of crosses over to once you begin to have children, you're taking care of the children, you're nurturing the children. They say that, it's best to feed the baby straight from the mother. It's like the most healthy for the baby. So yeah, I guess I can relate to that.
Yeah. And then the word Brahmana also used here is very important. Now, who is a Brahmana? Brahmana is a gentleman. Prabhupada asked that who is a devotee of the Lord?
Mm.
Who does him look like? Who does he look like? And Prabhupada said that he is a gentleman. He is gentle in his behavior. The word gentleman, a man who is gentle in the behavior, in the sense he has all the values and characteristics of a sane person. And that is also coming to a Brahmana. The definition of Brahmana is Brahmana means one who is looking everyone with the equal vision, considering everyone having the being a part and parcel of the God. So Bhagavad Gita also says, a person who is on the stage of Brahmana, it is a position, it is a stage which can be achieved by everybody. And it's not a particular birth, or it's not a particular kind of a caste or community, which people have made it. But Prabhupada says it is everybody can come to the stage of Brahmana, and that is where Bhagavad Gita says, Asuni pa kecha swapa kecha brahmane gavi hastini. That the man who has become a Brahmana, or a Brahmana is a person who is seeing everyone with an equal vision, whether it be a dog, whether it be animal, any kind of animal, or anything, a child, a man, a woman, everyone he sees with equal vision. So these two things, Brahmana and the cow, are given importance in the Vedic science because these people, they are responsible to uplift the consciousness of the mankind. Like, in the family, you have somebody strict, maybe a father is strict, maybe mother is strict. So the kids are controlled, and as soon as father or mother is gone out, the kids are doing some mischief, but again, they get controlled nicely. So to tame the senses, to, as says the purport today here, that when the senses are going haywire, it's not in the direction. What is happening? When the society is respecting these two personalities, the Brahmanas and the cows, they will be able to restrain their senses. They will be able to come to a particular position, or a conscious position, like that. What do you say, Balram?
Wow, that's really powerful. I was thinking of touching on that because it says he uses the phrase mind control. So
Yeah.
just to clarify for people who aren't familiar with Prabhupada's verbiage, he's not talking about Project Paperclip or those, FBI, whatever, secret projects with the LSD or anything, or psychic phenomena. He's talking about like mental control, right? Control of one's own mind, right? And control of the senses. And the demoniac mentality says, why? What's okay? I see those pious people, and they're all about the mind. That's what they're saying right here. Vishnu is found in the cows, and control of the senses, austerity, sacrifice, charity.
Yeah.
That's their thing. It's like, oh, that's your God, that's your religion. I don't have to do that. I don't have to subscribe to that truth. Why do I need to control my senses? I'd rather be free. I'd rather freedom of my senses. But what they're not understanding is you actually become a slave of your mind and senses because they're not yours. It's actually comes from the earth, comes from the mother, comes from the material nature, is it not? Just like the child's, the milk that Jake, you drank as a child, like, wasn't your milk, but because you were tuned in to the consciousness of reality of the collective body of that family, it's like, yeah, the milk comes from mother cow, right? You're not ignorant to that. You understand that we're all, you know, collectively, you know, a part of one body, one corpus, if you will, and that the mother is giving us, and, you know, all of the, you know, things in the house, they come from mom and dad, not from our own potency, you know. So the mind as well, it's like it's a gift that's been given to us, and just like anything else that has been given by our parents, it's for us to learn the proper consciousness to understand our relationship and how we give back, how we serve with these things. But it's always a choice, right? We always have that choice. And Krishna is not going to tell you, you know, what you should do with it or what you have to do. He's not, you know, this religion isn't this like, you must, you know, obey, and there's no other. It's like, no, you know, you have free will, you can choose, but you'll have to face the consequences of that. So the consequence of unrestrained mind and senses is deep suffering, right? We actually become a slave to that, and what was meant as a gift for us from our mother, you know, we become wicked, actually. You know, what do you guys think?
Mm.
I totally agree. Our senses are like the first thing that get corrupted, you know. I mean, and because the fact is you don't even know that they're corrupted until something happens, or until someone says, "Hey, do you know why you're in trouble right now?" You know, like our senses literally get us to that point if we follow them every single time. You know, you know, it's like in whatever you do, you know, wow, this feels so good. This feels so good. This feels so good. Next thing you know, you're like off the cliff, falling 5,000 feet, you know? So
In the ER getting your stomach pumped.
dude, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah.
I
Or
was just
a multitude of other bad situations.
right. I was just reading from this book. Highly, highly recommend this book, Relationships That Work by David Wolf,
Hmm.
The Power of Conscious Living. Have you heard of this? Rajesh, do you know this author?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a devotee. Do you know his initiated name?
The conscious living?
Power of Conscious Living.
No, not exactly his devotional name. I don't know.
Anyway, it's really incredible. Oh, is that it? Really incredible. Yeah, anyway, you know, he was giving this, he's talking about the how language reflects consciousness, and saying I can't do that. You know, this habit is killing you. Why don't you stop? You know, oh, I can't. You know, as opposed to, you know, I'm not willing to. Right, like that is a very insightful, you know, shift there. And so, you know, he was giving some example, like clinical examples, right? Because he's like a counselor, and whatever. So like he worked, was it him or someone, a director of an international CPO office, you know, worked, specialized in therapy for sex offenders. And, you know, what they say is like, I will, a person keeps their power. Yeah. They disempower themselves, right? I can't give the power away. Exactly, Andrea. So they say, oh, I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. And so what they would do is they would say, well, you know, what if you were back in that same situation and there's a police officer there holding a gun at you? Oh, well, then definitely I wouldn't have done it then. But I thought you just said you couldn't help yourself. He's like, but yeah, but if there's a cop there, It's like, oh, so it sounds like there's a choice actually. It's like, maybe there is a choice. He's like, yes, there is a series of choices at every step. So the Prabhupada put in the that paragraph there that what something about time, right? All powerful time, the influence of time. You remember that? That's a common theme woven through these stories is the influence of time. And we hear statements from people that disempower themselves by saying, oh, it's just the influence of time, you know, like fate, you could say. It's just like these things are being moved by a higher force and I'm pretty much powerless. It's like, well, yes, you are powerless to how things are being moved, but you never are powerless to your personal choice, right? So yeah, so I found this section really incredible and, you know, empowering, shifting from the, oh, I can't kind of response to, well, I'm not willing to right now, or I may not want to, but I am capable.
Wow, wonderful. Amazing session. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, accepting responsibility, right?
Yeah. Like completely revolutionary theme these days, really, right? Oh, you know, right?
It's the way I am. Just the way I am.
Seriously.
Precision of language, Andrea says, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, if you're mindless with how you think, or how you speak rather, you know, well, that same kind of basic thing, right? It's totally like disempowering. But you know, what are you actually speaking? You know, and this is really like the grail of the devotee is the power of speech. And this is what we're doing on the show. This is what we're doing in our lives as practitioners. We are chanting the name of God, you know, the ultimate ashray, the ultimate shelter and liberation. There's power of life and death in the tongue. Absolutely. You know, what are you speaking into existence? Are you just taking the voices of others, you know, those other voices in your head, saying, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you're not good enough, right? Where did those come from? It didn't come from the soul. So it's like this is spiritual life is awakening to the understanding that there is a soul and that there is a source, right? Yeah, the Maha Mantra. So what are we doing with the Maha Mantra? Is there is another voice that we can tune into, right? And those words, right? That's what, you know, Christian logos is the word of God, right? And so here we're reading the scripture, which is Krishna Katha. Right? Same thing. This is, you know, spiritual sound vibration that we are choosing to speak that into being. And that is liberating because we're actually coming into true consciousness, like liberated spiritual consciousness. You are completely liberated just by stepping into Krishna. Anything in relation with Krishna, speaking about Krishna, chanting his name, you are completely liberated. It's not like, I mean, it is a long process as well because there's so many knots inside of you that will have to get kind of weeded out. But in that moment, you know, you're there. And then it's just a matter of, you know, sustaining that, right, through all the challenges. Horrible, Andrea. Thank you. Right. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Chanting. See, that's what we really got to bring to light here real quick, is that chanting the holy names is so important for this spiritual life on this realm of existence that we're on. It goes for everybody, everywhere, all the time. The key thing of Krishna consciousness is chanting the holy names. It is what? It is the yajna for the age. It is the only Krishna in this age made it super simple for everybody because he knew it was going to be so crazy. An ocean of faults that we're in, the Kali Yuga, the age of Kali Yuga, Yogamaya, everything that we're facing as human beings, including our own mind. So when you chant the holy names, it should calm you down, center you, focus you, but you're also putting out the vibration of the holy names. What is holy? Something that is set apart, something that is pure, clean, something that is, like you take off your feet before you walk on, or you take off your feet. You take off your shoes before you like enter into the temple, right? Because they're dirty, right? So it's a sign, okay, that you're giving yourself to God. You're literally saying, please use me in your service, Lord. And that is the main thing. That is what we're supposed to be doing. So it's
like God. And then you become yourself of God by virtue of that divine association. And so you're liberated. Actually, there's nothing else, to do except remain in that shelter. Right? Because everything outside of that is just the play of the mind, the material energy, and that's what gets us trapped up. Right?
Yeah.
That's the whole goal. It's not, anything any more complicated than that.
Yeah. So when we're saying shelter, Raj, hey, when we're saying shelter, that means that we're just taking cover of something. You get that, Raj? You got that? Okay, cool. Just like
just like the shell, the shell in the ocean is a cover to the insect. So we need a cover for ourselves. So we call it shelter.
Nice.
Very good. Yes, very good. Well, I tell you what, we're just about at the end of our time today. Next episode, we are going to be starting chapter 5 of the Krishna book. And I am super excited for this one. The meeting of Nanda and Vasudev.
Wow.
Yes, this chapter is action-packed, as if chapter 4 was actually action-packed. And I tried to, to relay how action-packed it is, talking about like basically a board meeting full of demons, So, but yes, next time we are on chapter 5. So we're making very good progress. Chapter 5 is a little bit longer than chapter 4, but it is full of some really amazing stuff. There's some partying going on. It's going to be amazing. So if anyone's got anything else to say.
Let's just give a final shout out to the mothers.
Yes.
There. The love that we've received has come from you. The love that's going around this world, you're God's gift to us. So we're eternally grateful.
And she's the ultimate shelter.
Yeah, we always have the mother's arms. It doesn't matter what we do, right? We can always return to her, and she just gives us everything that we need. And so with that, we want to give our thanks, honor, and glorification, and pray that we can expand that consciousness, expand that gratitude to the mother, to the principle of mother, if you will, that we're receiving, as Vrajras was quoting, the seven mothers, Mother Earth, and ultimately the Lord.
Yeah.
Radha, oh Radha, is the mother. One of the mothers, most supreme mother's name is Radha. She takes us to the Lord Krishna. Hara, Hare. And that's where we take the shelter of mother in the mood of a child, crying out the name of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna.
Hare
Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Rama.
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama. Rama Rama.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All right. Thank you to all the mothers out there. This world is a hard world to get through without the love of a mother, that's for sure.
Yes.
So Jai Jai. Jai Jai Mataji. Jai Jai Mataji. All right, my friends, please. Thank you very much for watching our videos, and like, subscribe, comment if you feel the need to comment. And we will see you next time on the good old Sola Shraya. All right. Hare Krishna, my friends. Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.